Hey, it's me, Polly. Hope you all are doing well out there. So I feel like getting on here. I guess because really you guys are my only friends, and I need to be cheered up a little bit. Don't I always? So today sucked in some ways. Yeah, it pretty much sucked. And I wish it was just today. It's not just today, it's every day. It's just that today specifically ended up in the ER. I feel like I'm dying. I mean, I really do. I feel like I'm dying. I feel like I'm going to die soon. Not maybe today or tomorrow, maybe, I don't know, maybe in 3 months or 6 months, but like I feel like I don't have a year in me. And I haven't been feeling good the last couple of days. I've had chest pain. I've had that since really like chest weakness. Like, I feel like my heart is weaker. I feel like my heart is weak, and I can't explain it better than that. And that started back one of those times. It just, one of the many times that I just got, slammed with emotion. And that was last year. It was on my birthday last year, actually. I remember I was in the ER on my birthday. But it was that one. And I think it happened, the actual event happened a couple of days before that, and it just took me that long to, to process it, I guess, or I don't know, but I feel like I'm dying. I went there and they did chest x-rays, and those came back fine, and although I do have a stress test, I'm supposed to have a stress test done. I had a fever. I don't know what that was about. I didn't even know I had a fever, but I had a fever, and I also had, like, my pulse, sorry, it was like 100. Yeah, it was 100, and my blood pressure was through the roof, though. It was like 160 over 120, I think is what it said, or something like that. And she kept saying, that can't be right. That can't be right. And she kept retaking it, and it kept being that. It's usually not that high. Most of my life it's been pretty much right on 120 over 80, But I felt like I had a marching band just pounding away, like the percussion section just pounding away in me. I mean, I maybe looked calm, but I didn't feel calm. So I wasn't surprised that, my pulse, my heart rate was so high, and anyway, so the worst of it, though, was trying to get 911 to answer my call, because I have been scolded by 911 before, that time that I got hit by the van, and I tried to call 911 and tell them what happened, and somehow they told me that 911, the police, like, why are you trying to get this guy into trouble? I mean, it was clear that they knew the guy. I mean, he hit me on purpose with his van, but Anyway, so they scolded me for that. They've yelled at me for not speaking fast enough at times. Generally, they seem to have a note in their file that says to treat me like crap, so, well, of course I'm afraid to talk to them, you know. I have this selective speaking disability. You know, if I think that if I'm afraid of being scolded or, you know, yelled at, or I don't know, I'm afraid to say anything. I'm afraid to make a sound. So I called them, but I asked Jamie to call them, and she told me to call them. I asked her to call so that she could speak for me, and then I realized, you know, after like 20 minutes, I don't think she called them. I think she just like told me to call them, and then, you know, was working and went on with her job. Never called them for me. And at that point, you know, I was really sure I was, I don't know, just really felt like I was dying. I really believed I was dying earlier today. So I tried calling them, but I couldn't talk. So I banged on things, which apparently they couldn't understand, and so they just hung up on me. But they called me back. They kept calling me back, and I would bang on things as hard as I could, you know, and in between that, then I'd be trying to, like, not let my breathing get, you know, like I would try to not exert while I was doing that at the same time, so I'd be careful, you know. And they just kept hanging up. They never said anything. They'd say 911 emergency or whatever. And then I'd make these sounds, and they could not fathom, apparently, that the fact that I wasn't speaking meant I was in trouble. I would be dead right now if I had been choking, because they didn't get there for like 30 minutes, and that was after the police called them, I think. But, I mean, you know, I just kept, I tried to call them back after they'd hang up on me. They'd call me, but they couldn't get the whole banging thing. At a couple points I was like, you know, melting down and shrieking, which was really great for my heart. I mean, that just made everything worse, you know. I'm just getting really upset that 911 didn't say anything to me. They just didn't say anything. They'd just hang up. And they'd call me back, and then they'd just sit there and not say anything while I banged away, or maybe they weren't, I don't know, maybe they weren't paying attention. At one point, I texted Jamie, and I'm like, 911 just keeps hanging up on me. They just keep hanging up on me, and she said she couldn't get through to them either. So I was so upset and scared, and just had this, I just knew I was dying, and I just could feel it, you know. My brain was telling me that I was dying. I started looking around for my keys, and I couldn't find my keys. They were right where I'd left them, but I didn't remember. I wasn't thinking clearly. And so I went out to my car, and I shrieked, you know, like, whoa, out there. I was trying to get anybody's attention, and then, you know, nobody would help me. Nobody would help me. I thought I was having a heart attack, and nobody would help me. And so I just started laying on the horn in my car. It wasn't locked, which is surprising, because I always lock it, but I guess I hadn't, so I was able to get to my horn, and I just started honking and honking, hoping that anybody would come out and that they could talk. I could type. I did type out heart attack, help, and nobody came out. Some guy down the street yelled at me for honking. Nobody came out to see what was going on, and I was honking irregularly, so it wouldn't have been a car alarm, because I was using irregular intervals and laying on it, and nobody came to help me. I mean, nobody. Well, finally the cops show up, and I think that was because somebody got mad and called them. I suppose 911 could have sent them, but I don't know. They didn't say a word to me. So, I thought I was going to have to drive myself. I don't know how I was going to get there without my keys. The cops came up, wanted to know why I was honking on the horn like that. I showed them my phone, where it said heart attack, and then they were really nice. I mean, the cops were really nice. And I will say that in this town, the cops have been nicer to me more times than they haven't. I want to give credit where credit is due. They were horrible to me about that van hitting me. It was ridiculous, because I was just trying to save my dog's life. But setting that aside, they've been really good to me. I know they think I'm just a nutcase, because I'm like this emotional nightmare, and I end up getting sent to the psych hospital for one reason or another. Like the last time, it was because my next door neighbors called them and complained, and I wasn't in a good state of mind. I really did need to go there, but I didn't want to go there. I hate being locked in that place. But I'd written all over my walls, please help me, please help me. I covered my walls in chalk. Please help me. There's even one wall I never did get it cleaned off. I just got scolded for doing that. When the senior helper person who came to my house, because they're supposed to be helping me, right? She came over and saw that, and she was upset with me for messing up my walls. She didn't care about the message. She didn't care about me feeling like I had nobody. And I have nobody. I have Jamie. But even Jamie, she's just human, It's really hard to put up with somebody like me, I guess, because it would be. Because, I can have these meltdowns, which are like tantrums, except that they're not tantrums because there's no manipulation involved. They're just frustration. Just frustration to the absolute. I feel silenced. I feel owned. I feel trapped. I feel oppressed. And I feel silenced because you guys know I've been complaining. I've been crying out for help over and over and over and over. And not just on the web. As many times. For every video that I have up, I have at least one experience in the real world where I tried to get help, and there's nobody willing to listen. Nobody will take me seriously. Nobody is willing to listen. Everybody in this town, everybody who works in this town covers for everybody else, and so they're not willing to even hear what you have to say. I wasn't allowed to tell anybody when my guardian killed my dog. Didn't want to hear it. Nobody would look into it. I got that guardian to help me get my dog. certified as my therapy dog. I mean, that was one of the reasons, but that was one of the main reasons. And when he became inconvenient to her plans, she murdered him. She murdered him. He was 3 years old. I mean, I can't prove that she murdered him, and I didn't think that at first. I really didn't. When he died, I couldn't understand how he died. He was a perfectly healthy 3-year-old dog, but then when her evil side came out, I ordered an autopsy, and that she took as an accusation, and then she just treated me like shit. And then her evil side came out. That woman is so evil. And then I realized that she had killed him. But anyway, I went to her boss, I went to DHS, I tried to tell somebody. Nobody cared. Worse than they didn't care, I wasn't even allowed to tell them. They wouldn't hear of it. They wouldn't investigate. They wouldn't even listen to me. It didn't matter that she stole the one being in my life who loved me. My only family who loved me. He was my son. If he'd been human, they'd have looked into it, but he was just a dog, To me, I never had children. He was my son. I didn't mean to get off on this. I'm just, I don't feel good, and I'm being, my lips, I got, dry mouth, as usual. But I just feel like I'll never get out of this. I'll never get anybody willing to help me. Nobody's willing to listen. Everybody just keeps oppressing me further and further. I was afraid while I was gone because we had to leave Tucker, in the house with the door unlocked. The cops took him off the leash, thankfully, but they left him in the house with the door unlocked, which they had to do. I couldn't even find my keys. The last time that happened, my neighbors came into my house while they knew I was... They're the ones who complained and got me sent to the psych ward, and so they knew I was gone overnight. They came into my house. I don't know what they did to Tucker, but I know that they took something and scratched my phone number, very deliberately scratched my phone number off of the ID tag around his neck. They hate him. They hate him because he barks. Finally, they moved away. And it might have been partly me, but I think it was also the drunk woman who lived on the other side of them and kept coming over. And they had 2 little kids, and this woman was always drunk and coming over to their house or something. I don't know. And then, of course, there are the neighbors across the street that way, selling drugs. So, actually, I'm moving. This is good news. It's good news. I'm moving in 2 weeks to the east side of town. I wish I was moving out of state, and certainly out of Traverse City. Traverse City is wicked. And I don't mean the citizens. I mean the people who work here, in the human services industry, are just... I need to write a book. I really want to write a book, therapeutically and as an expose, because if I don't even know where to begin. There's been so much meanness and cruelty, And it's been ridiculous. It's been insane. I mean, nobody would even believe me. It's just been, it started, well, technically it started in 2009. As far as, when I tried to kill myself. And, from that point on, I had, connections, like, it was connected with the psych hospital, and that's when the abuse started in this town, in this area, and it has not stopped. To this day, that was 2009, to this day, it hasn't stopped. And my heart hurts so much. My heart feels weak. It just feels dull. Like, even if I go out for a good walk, a brisk walk, how your heart, usually you get a good breath of air and you feel healthy. I don't. I just feel like my heart is weak, and I just don't know how else to explain it. Like, I'm kind of afraid to move because it might give out on me. I really think that, if I can't get rid of some of this pain and stress and some of what's already in me that I can't get out, I won't be alive in a year. I'm not sure I'd be alive in 6 months. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm at the point where, as far as my chorus and all the shit that they've pulled on me for so long, I realize they're never going to let me be a member. They're never going to let me be a member without bullying me and expecting me to just take it. And, see, I realize that now. Which means that I no longer feel the need to protect them. I no longer feel the need to, keep their dirty secrets about the way they treat people, about how they kick people out. I've been the most stubborn of them, but I've been far from the only one. I just desperately wanted to belong, and under no circumstances were the mean girls in that mean women. I mean, they're all like over 50 and snobs. I'm talking about the mean ones, which is most of the chorus actually, but really the true mean ones there are like 7 or 8 of them. It's just insane. 7 or 8 power tripping, snobby, control freak women. You can imagine how awful that would be. Women are very catty. I'm not your typical woman. I mean, I was a tomboy growing up. I also have always been very unassuming and very down to earth, and these women. But they've abused me, and I've just taken it, and they've abused me, and I've bought into their intimidation. When I tried to tell, when I tried to get help, nobody would ever help me. They would just tell me, I don't want to hear anything negative. Hence, I couldn't tell them what was being done to me. And that was at a district level. I've never gone to the international level because I'm afraid they'll be the same way. And there's no higher place to go. But I've had it. I they have had no loyalty to me, hence I no longer have any loyalty to them, and I realize now that I'll never be able to be a member. I just wanted to be a member so badly, and they don't want that. They want me not there, and they always get their way. They always get their way. They bully people out. I've seen them do it. I've been in since 2009, and I've seen them bully a number of people out, including our prior director. They have this reputation of being like the most horrible group of women. They are. I've done everything I could try to do to be on their good side, but they don't want me, and when they don't want you, my hair is like just moppy. I'm sorry, it's just moppy. I need to get it cut. But when they don't want you, then they just start this campaign to get you out, and they're mad because I haven't gotten out. The director doesn't have a backbone at all. Worse than that, though, she's one of my bullies, and the president is the biggest bully of all. The people in power are the people who are wielding it unjustly. They get to decide who's in and who isn't. If they don't like somebody, they can't force them out, so they just make them so miserable that they quit. And I've resisted that because then I have to live with that. I have to not be a member of that group. And I love that music. It's the only group that sings women's barbershop. And I love it. But, and I still want to start my own. I don't know, because, Sweet Adelines might just disavow me or disown me or whatever if I open my mouth about what's been done to me through the chorus, but it's been killing me to keep that secret. They've intimidated me into it. They've bullied me into it. They've punished me when I've tried to get help, just tried to reach out for help. That's all. And very kindly. And they've lied, and they've gossiped, and they just have destroyed me. And I've had it with them. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna tell it like it is. I don't have to lie. But I don't know who to tell, because nobody cares. There's nobody to tell anything. There's nobody to tell anything ever, because they won't listen. Nobody will listen. All the places I tried to email, they don't respond back. I even tried to tell my story through the newspaper, which prints some really boring shit, If they'll headline a story about a woman who is, some dumb story that nobody cares about, some woman who is, upset because, sometimes it's just, little town nothingness. And I have this story, this amazing story about, solving a crime, and also having recorded information from somebody who pretended to be a dead guy. I have his voice. He pretended to be this dead guy who mysteriously died while in the care of the hospital. And I have this guy from the hospital pretending to be that guy. He was dead all along, but nobody knew it. I didn't know it. I thought I was talking to the actual missing guy, but it was a guy from the hospital pretending to be him. And we found out later that he had been floating in the bay. I have that information. I mean, I have that story. They're not interested. Nobody, that one could get me killed very easily. I know that. That story could get me killed. We have some very evil people in our hospital. Not all of them. It's never everybody, but there's a very dark side to Munson Hospital. Dark and very cover-up, and lies, and the story they told about, their story to the police about that man who disappeared from under their roof was all lies. It was all lies. And anybody who had been there, anybody who'd been in that same ward would know that everything he said was a lie. The cops wouldn't know it, but anybody who'd been a patient there would know that the guy was lying through his teeth. It's a cover-up because, honestly, they labeled it as an accidental drowning. I'll tell you one thing. The one thing I know it wasn't was an accident. At least it wasn't an accident in the way they're trying to make it seem, like he just somehow stumbled out of the hospital in 6-degree weather without his coat, without his wallet, which he wouldn't have had anyway, and he left that outside while he was on a smoke break that they don't give, that they never give. There's no such thing there, and he just stumbled into the water and drowned. But he had to get all the way to the bay first. No, he was dumped. I know he was. Because I know some things about, I've seen that side of them. I mean, I've seen the dark side of them. When they decide to punish somebody, sometimes they go too far. They went too far with me. They didn't kill me, but they managed to, torture me. And then I woke up like 24 hours later and I'd been shipped downstate. I had no idea about any of it. The last thing I remembered, I was in a room in Traverse City. I woke up like 24 hours later, down in the breezeway of a hospital, 5 hours south, on a gurney. I had no idea. They had drugged me up so much. That's what they do, and it was all punishment. That was punishment after I attempted suicide. Not in a great frame of mind. That was the punishment for my pounding on the walls, which I I was doing it because I felt so betrayed by my mother, who was constantly betraying me, has, like, just destroyed me in my life. And then she buys me a house. She does these nice things. They're always money, because it's always involving money. She'll give me something. In this case, something really expensive. She found me a place to live because I needed to get out of this drug dealing neighborhood. It's in a much nicer neighborhood, and there's a yard for Tucker. But now she doesn't want to, put a fence in, so, he'll be stuck the way he's always been, just chained up. Let him, I don't know. I want to get on my own so badly, and I'm just so powerless. I'm just such a loser. I don't mean to be, but I am. I mean, I'm 47. And I can't get out of my mother's wretched grasp. She knows she owns me. She treats me like she owns me. She tells me, whatever she feels like saying, no matter how hurtful it is. Things that I would never be so cruel to ever say to her. I'm sorry, I'm rehashing. It's 2015. This is supposed to be the year that I heal, that I finally start to heal, and I can't. There's nobody to help me. I mean, I actually went out, stood on Front Street, and held a sign begging for somebody to help me, to listen, to investigate, just investigate some things that have happened to me, that are happening to other people. Nobody. It was as fruitless as every other effort. One time, I went out with chalk in the middle of the night, and I wrote all over town, "Help, please help." Nothing. I try so hard. I mean, I've reached out every place, and nobody will help me. Even DHS, who's supposed to help, doesn't want to get involved in hearing anything that anybody's done to me. It's like you aren't allowed to report abuse. You're not allowed to, because that's misbehaving. That's complaining. That's being negative, and you could get somebody into trouble. They all protect each other, and they leave us with nowhere to report anything that's going on. So I guess I don't really have that much new to say. The thing with 911 is just another example, of, I don't know. I mean, I didn't talk the whole time I was at the hospital either, but I had a really nice ambulance driver who understood. Not ambulance driver, the attendant, the guy who was in the ambulance with me, and he was so nice. And he had a son with autism who couldn't talk sometimes, and he said he understood. And eventually I was willing to talk to him, because he made it clear that he wasn't going to yell at me or scold me or get angry with me, which most everybody does, because somehow I say everything wrong. So then I just became so afraid of speaking because I knew I'd say it wrong or it'd sound wrong. Like I'd sound too young for how old I am. That makes people angry. So I'm afraid to even make a sound, And then I get in trouble. They get mad because I don't talk, and then I get punished for that. But I mean, that didn't happen today. I don't want to make it sound like it happened today. My heart is so heavy from everything that's happened, and I've had to bottle it up and keep it in, and you know how well I've done that on here. I've unloaded the same burdens over and over and over again. The problem is I'm unloading them to the wrong people. I need people of authority who can do something to hear what's happening and to just stop it and to investigate, to look into this woman who killed my dog and then tormented me about it. I mean, she tormented me about it. Started bringing her dogs around. And I told her it hurts me so much to see her dogs. Her dogs survive. She had them for years. My dog was only in her house for 6 weeks. And he mysteriously died. And she started bringing her dogs around in the AFC home I was living in just to torment me. She did everything she could to torment me. Made me ride in her car with her cat right after my dog's death, and it just tore me up. That was when I had Ben. I have Tucker now. I'm afraid though, because I need so much for people to see the way she treated me. What she does to people, how she is. I have no doubt she would go after Tucker if I did. I mean, she really is evil. She went to great lengths to cause harm to me and to turn people against me and to use her power as my guardian to refuse to let certain people communicate with other people so that they couldn't find out the truth about things. And she's a horrible person. I just didn't know that when, I thought finally I'd have somebody to help me with my dog. Have somebody help me get Ben proclaimed a therapy dog, and also somebody to help me because my psychiatrist, who is really the one who single-handedly whittled my confidence down to 0 and that I've never gotten it back. Maybe not single-handedly because the chorus was working on it too, but I mean, this psychiatrist who took an oath to do no harm did such great harm, but he doesn't have to be held accountable for it. Nobody to report to. Nobody cares. Nobody ever cares. I'm really depressed, I guess you can tell. I need finally to unburden myself. I went on Facebook earlier and I wrote this long expose, kind of pre-expose, and then I chickened out and didn't put it up because, you have to have it all together on there. People don't like you if you're not happy and don't have it all together. So I've been putting up all these sayings, memes and stuff, ones that I agree with, but basically all positive. I say one thing, put up a picture of this young woman who had no mouth. I said, feeling voiceless. And of course, absolute silence. Nobody responds because that's inappropriate. Nobody wants to hear anything that isn't positive. And there just isn't anything. I just want to heal. I just want somebody to listen. There's nobody. Even DHS, they're just like, well, we can't help you with that. And then senior helpers dissolves, which is like the best thing that could ever have happened, because then I could actually hire my caregiver, finally get more than 1 day's worth of hours, 4 or 5 hours, whatever. Sometimes it's longer. But I finally could have a second day, so I'm not alone 6 days a week. But this company, Monarch, they stole my files. I never agreed to be their client. I had Jamie first. They didn't even know who she was. But they took her over, and now we have to pay them, or I can't see her. And that means no hours, no additional hours, and I'm stuck back at 6 days a week by myself, all alone. Just Tucker and me in this silent house, in silence. I had a meltdown over that. If you misbehave, if I misbehave toward Jamie, like I told her I felt like she betrayed me because she signed something on my behalf and gave it to Monarch and didn't even tell me that they'd taken me over. Our plan was that I was going to hire her independently. Finally, I was going to have that chance. That was our plan. But every time she tells me, yeah, let's do that, then she turns around and it's like, but that would be inconvenient for me, because then I'd have to mark my own taxes. It's like, she cares about me more than anybody else in this world, and yet she just doesn't care that much about me. Not enough to be willing to spend time with me a second day a week, and we have so much fun together, but it's not convenient. It's really what it comes down to. And when I told her I felt like she'd betrayed me, then she punished me. And I get that, she's only human. How can anybody deal with me? I don't know. But I felt that way. She said I could say how I felt, and that's how I felt. But it made her mad. And so she hurt me worse. She hurt me worse by canceling my session that week, knowing that would throw me into an absolute tailspin, and it did. And then that tailspin just made my mom mad. I don't know. And then my doctor has a really good heart. He tries to help me. He's my medical doctor, but he's taken it upon himself to be my therapist. Only his advice is the same every single time. I see him every month. And every month it's, you can't change other people, you can only change yourself. So you gotta change yourself. And when you've changed yourself, when you've done everything to change yourself, and you feel like you're practically Mother Teresa in your behaviors, but everybody else sees you as, like, I don't know, Osama bin Laden or some person they hate, I don't know. mean, my heart couldn't be more pure. And I try not to be angry. It just inflames me every time somebody says, you can't change other people, you just have to change yourself. As if I haven't done that, as if I haven't been doing that all along, as if it's just, I don't know. So, I guess I really don't. I'm just trying to get the pain out. I'm sorry, repeating and repeating, but I'm just trying to get the pain out, and until I can get the pain, until I can get this out to the right people, till I can get somebody here to hear me and listen and care and feel like I can have a little justice, you know, a little, even somebody saying that shouldn't have happened. There's nobody to say that shouldn't have happened. There's nobody to look into it. There's nobody willing to listen. They won't even listen. I have all these recordings, proof of what I'm saying. Nobody will listen. They all protect each other. Ain't no way to report any kind of abuse in this town. Nobody cares, and when it happens to me, nobody cares. And it just seems like I don't know what's so wrong with me but there's something. I mean, most people don't get treated like I get treated. I mean, here, you know, I don't know. I'm so easily hateable. I have so many people who hate me. And I don't hate them. I don't have hate in me. I prayed it away. I did. So now I just have all this hurt, which is just as bad. I traded one negative emotion for another one. It does make me feel like I'm a better person, so I feel like I'm better than I was. You know, I've improved myself. But it really just feels hopeless. I wish so much that I could get my family in front of Dr. Phil. No, you know, and it's not just my family, it's everything. I need him to fix my whole life. And he could. He's like the only person who could fix it. Because he holds other people accountable too. He would hold me accountable if he could find anything I did wrong other than be really sensitive. He might, but I don't know. But he would hold people accountable. He wouldn't say, you know, you just have to change yourself. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say, you know, you have to suffer and it's perfectly okay for everybody else to abuse you and be mean, and, you know, he says it like it is. But I can't. I have so much emotion, I can't write anything without it becoming like a 10-page rambling nightmare. I can't get it out to send it to him. I can't get it out to send it to anybody, to post it on Facebook. There's so much. I mean, really, I could write a book. In fact, I have written a book. I mean, as many times as I have tried to write out what has happened and send it to people, the people I thought could help me, I have probably 4 books worth. Not kidding. Although it's just the same stuff over and over again. That doesn't count. But that's how many times I've written it out. And every time it's just a rambling, incoherent mess. my frustration level, not being able to communicate, is so high that I just feel like I'm dying. I feel like I'm dying inside, and I think that I am dying. I mean, I guess we're all dying, but I feel like my heart is weaker. I feel like my heart is weakened, and I can't take a whole lot more of these hits that just throw me into a tailspin. I react so badly to them. So, I don't know that I said anything that I wanted to say. I don't know. I need some encouragement. I need some direction. I need some comfort. I don't know. I am sorry about just ranting. I'm just stuck in life. I'm trying so hard to move forward. That's what this is. And there's so much that I'm doing here too that you don't see, but I'm trying to get this stuff that's all bottled inside of me out, all this pain. I want to get it out to the right people though, so that they can do something, but I can't find anybody who cares. There really isn't. As far as I can tell, there's nobody in this world who can do anything about it, and there are a lot of people who could, but none of them care. So, writing messages on the street, begging for help, literally writing them in chalk on the streets, standing with a sign begging for help. I've tried everything I can think of. Nothing works. Nobody listens. I'm out of ideas. There's no place. No place will listen to me. No place will help me. Even the places that are designed to help people, like HelpLink here, they just turn me away. I need help so much. So, I'm sorry. Like I said, I just really need to talk to somebody who can say, we need to investigate this. And not just for me. It's not just me. I'm whimpering for me, but there are a lot of people out there who are suffering at the hands of our community mental health and DHS, Department of Human Services, and our adult protective services who do no protecting at all, and disability, and HelpLink, and you name it, I've tried it. You name it, I've tried to get help. Jamie, my guardian, or my caregiver, has tried to get help. She's just practically given up because, we've probably talked to like 50 places. None of them will help. None of them. Nobody will help. And she's like, I'm so sorry, Polly. Nobody's willing to help you. The world, the way they see me, it's like, and my mom, and my brother, and everybody that they've turned against me, especially my mom. It's like, I think they'd all be, and my chorus, they'd all be so much better off if I didn't exist. If I was gone. And my mom would, everything would be better for her if I was dead. There's not anybody I can think of who wouldn't be better off if I was dead. Except for Tucker. except for him. And he might too. Because then maybe he could go to a family who could let him run and who wasn't so broken up. So broken that they're just in despair. Oh geez, I went over an hour, I'm sorry. I just kind of, I don't know, rambled. So anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate everybody who throws a little encouragement my way. I'm sorry I'm not on here very regularly, but it's just hard, and I hate coming on here and just saying the same things over and over again, and I keep doing that. I just don't see any hope. There's no hope. So, but, oh, jeez, oh, sorry, take it easy, and I do love you guys, and I want the best for you guys. I hope things are going well for you, and wherever you are, Nikki, if you're there, I lost track of you. I hope you're okay too. I'm sorry I lost track of you. Oh, sorry, it was a real bummer. So, my hand is stiff. Anyway, thanks for listening. And I guess I'll talk to you soon. Hopefully I'll be better then. Thanks.